Good morning, YouTube. So that big tree that fell and all those trees that I had back there, since my dad's in town, he was like, let me go back there. Since my dad's in town, he's like, let me go show you how we used to do it in Mexico. And he literally started like a little fire pit on the bottom. And I was scared. So you can see I'm the one that brought the hose down because I'm so overprotective. And I was like, I don't want to start a fire and then burn down this whole neighborhood and then, be in debt. But pretty much he cleaned like I don't even know how big this would be. Maybe like 8 to 10 feet wide. And little by little, we were just piling it up, or throwing it into the pile. And you can see we cleared all this back here. I'll try to find a picture of how I used to look. But yeah, it looks so good. Dang, it's just like there's a small pile here, another pile right there. And then all that's left is just take all this to the landfill, get new burn barrels, fix the fence. The tree that had fallen from their side to our side, the neighbor came over and literally just threw it over their side again. But I mean, their yard is such a mess, so much overgrowth. Everything's overgrown. Oof. It's actually an Airbnb, so I know they don't really see it that often. What else? I don't know if the camera gets it, but the lawn is covered with like a white powder. My wife got something to prevent fleas from taking over and, getting into Zoe. I'm waiting on my dad. He's drinking his coffee. But, got the trailer set up. And today I did want to talk about, I'm going blank. Give me a second. Sorry, I had it last night, so pretty much what I'll do is like the night before I'll kind of like talk to myself and kind of go over what I want to talk about. But there are like a lot of things that I want to talk about. But today I did want to talk about what your goals should be as a new lawn care company, or why, if you're thinking about becoming or starting your own lawn care business, what your goals should be. So I'll go off. I think maybe three. I'll try to find like three good reasons, and then I'll do this for the thumbnail. Bam. I think obviously the first one should be to replace your 9-to-5 job, or that income that you're getting from that 9-to-5 job. Like I said in my other video, building generational wealth. And if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out, because you need an escape plan. What's your exit strategy? What's your exit plan? Like, you need to get out of that rat race. You need to get out of that 9-to-5 job. And not necessarily like everyone needs to start their own business, because let's be like real, right? Not everyone is going to make it. I don't know the statistics of a new business owner, especially in lawn care, but I'd have to look it up. But I'll put it up if I find something. But I'm sure it's probably like 50 or 60% of the people that try to make their own business actually make it. So even if you're not going to start a business, you still need to be saving your money and reinvesting your money, buying assets, not liabilities. And in that video, I went over real estate, but I also mentioned stocks. If you just want to buy bonds or silver, gold, there's a lot of different things that you can do out there to buy. Another thing that I've always wanted to buy is a laundromat, because I feel like the overhead's so little. Like I feel like my wife and I can go kind of like, maybe go every other day, check everything out. And someone doesn't really need to be there 24/7. If a machine breaks down, just fix it. So I don't know, maybe in the future when I pay off all my debt and, Wheezy Weeds is really taking off, maybe I'll buy a laundromat in the future. But I don't know, things like that. Like, you need to start thinking like, what can I buy now, or what can I do that will start making a couple $100s a month? And then eventually you do that enough and it'll replace your regular income, and then you'll have more freedom to do whatever you want. But it takes a while. But anyways, first goal should be to replace your 9-to-5 job. So eventually You want to have a lot of accounts to leave that 9 to 5 job where you're making enough or barely enough. Obviously you're going to be making slightly less, or you're going to be making right where how much you were making, or you're going to be making way more than you ever expected. But a lot of us, when you start off, you'll have doubts, you'll get discouraged, you don't know what you're doing. So that's why you're watching videos like mine or other lawn care content creators, to kind of get an idea of what you need to do. And again, I can't emphasize this enough, but I had zero experience in this industry. And a lot of people are like, oh, you cut grass. I was like, yeah, but I didn't know anything about it. Like, it sounds easy. It's not rocket science, but just the torture that your body's going to go through, especially when you start off, because you're not going to start off with these stand-on mowers. You're not going to start off with commercial weed eaters, edgers. I'm still using Ryobi because my dad is having a hard time cranking the gas one. So I was like, oh, I have Ryobi. You just pull the throttle and it works. So I'm so glad. This has not failed me in like 4 or 5 years. So if you're starting now and you're thinking about Ryobi, I approve, but I would just save up a little bit more and get, a gas power, because then you would have to buy more batteries. But, that's another topic. But what I'm trying to say is, you're going to start with the very basics, and it's going to be miserable, and you might get discouraged. But if you're like me, I'm always like thinking about the future. Like, if I keep doing this, it's going to lead me to where I am now. But first, sit down and really go over your numbers. And that's what I used to do. I used to open all my bank accounts, my bank statements, and be like, okay, how much am I bringing in? How much is going out? I'm spending a lot of money on coffee. And that's why in some of my videos, you can see I have a little espresso machine that my wife got me for Christmas, because I had told her, like, I'm spending maybe $30-$40 a week on coffee, because I used to stop by Starbucks. I can't remember the last time I went to Starbucks, because, we got that machine. So it's like things like that. Like, what can you do to lower your costs? And obviously, as the goal theoretically should be, the more money you make, your expenses should stay the same or decrease. But obviously, when you start a business, all the money that you're going to make, you're going to be spending it because you want to, you want better things. You want to get the job done quicker. And that's why for the first 2 years, as many of you guys know, I lost money. This would probably be or 3 years. Last year, I probably made like $2,000-$3,000 more than my expenses. But I'm pretty sure like I'm missing some expenses where I probably broke even again or lost money again for that third year. But you're not really going to see that much money coming in if you're like me, if you're constantly reinvesting back into your business. So that's why a lot of guys struggle their full-time job with starting this. And it is a lot, but it's worth it. But sit down, see, for me, it was like, okay, I'm bringing in like $950 from my old job when I was the general manager after taxes. That's what, would be my net. So I was like, okay, that's how many, that's my goal. I should be making at least $950 a week, or close to $950. I could survive off of $700. So even if I make $700, I'll be okay with that, because I know as time goes on, I'm only going to get busier, and then I'll get that, that number, get to that number. And for some of you guys, it might be $400 to $600 or $300, and that's a lot easier because you only need a few accounts. So what I did is, I sat down, I was like, okay, if I'm making $950 and say my minimum back then was $50, how many accounts do I need a week? Which is a good bit. It's too early. I haven't had my coffee. So I did the math real quick. So it's 19 accounts. So I need 19 accounts a week to break $950. But again, a lot of us are going to be doing bi-weeklies or just monthly visits or 3 to 4 weeks, because you're starting out and that's all you're getting, which I've talked about in another video. So as I was saying, you need 19 accounts, but you're not going to, when you start off, you're not going to get 19 weekly accounts or 19 bi-weekly accounts. You're going to be throwing in a lot of like monthly cuts, every 3 to 4 week cuts. And you're going to say yes because, that's just where you are. And, there are some guys out there that'll be like, nope, I'm not taking those accounts. And they refuse those accounts right off the bat. But there are a lot of guys, including myself, that'll be like, it's a job. I need the money. I need something to get the ball rolling. I'm going to go out there and, shortchange myself. So 19 weekly accounts and you're there already, which is, for me, I'm not even there yet with weekly accounts. So I do bi-weekly. So you would need 38, say 40. So you would need 48 accounts. That way you can split it up between like 20 one week and 20 the other week. And you would be where I'm at. And now obviously you do your own math and be like, okay, how many accounts do I need? And once you really break it down, you're like 20 accounts, huh? Or 40 accounts. I mean, that's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It took me maybe like, I think that first year I was like at 35, but again, it was a mix of everything. So I probably wasn't until that second year when I did leave my job, or close to the end when I did leave my job, is when I got these numbers, when I had like 40 decent accounts. They weren't all great. But now all my accounts, I just counted yesterday, I'm at like 53. And they're all like solid, good accounts. I show up every 2 weeks. I don't text them. I send them the invoice. They pay. For the most part, everyone pays on time now because I've gotten rid of all these clients that would take a while to pay. But anyways, know that number. How many accounts do I need to do to reach that number, and then work from there, and then slowly build that clientele? But like most guys, you're not going to get there that first year. It might take you that second or third year to finally get to where you're at, which is, or where I'm at, where it's you leave your job and you're making, the same, if not more than what you used to make. So once you've accomplished that milestone where you're able to leave your 9-to-5 job because your business is making almost, just as much, if not more, than what you were doing working for someone else. That's the biggest milestone anyone can do. For me, it took 2 years. Yeah, I think it was that second year. Second year. After that, then your next goal should be to really focus on the type of clients you want to target or keep, because by this stage, like I said, you have a lot of clients that are really wishy-washy. They only want you to come out, when they want you to, because they want to save some money. So get rid of all those clients and start replacing them with clients where you're more confident or a little bit more strict, where, I show up and be like, do you want weekly or bi-weekly? Like, those are the only two options that I give new clients. But past Manny would never say that. I'd be like, well, what are you looking for? And I've kind of let them tell me what they want, just so that I can accommodate them and ultimately get the job. So it's just a learning curve, but those clients you want to get rid of. Make a list of clients that are always like texting you. They always want you to do more things than, they're always asking for more stuff, but never want to pay more. Those are the clients you want to get rid of. And that's why for my second year, my second going to my third year. So by the end of my second year, I was at like 65 accounts. And in my third year, I started with like 30 accounts or something like that. Like, I literally lost like more than half of my clients because I'm like, I'm going to get rid of them. It's not worth it. It's not worth all these headaches and whatnot. So you're going to be in that same boat, or some of you guys are going to be in the same boat or have been in that same boat. So you need to get rid of these clients eventually so that you can continue to grow and make more money, obviously, and it'll be easier. And it's your business. Like, you shouldn't have to deal with all these like clients that give you a headache or make you stressed out or raise your anxiety levels and whatnot. So number 2 is start making a list. Or even now, if you're still working on, trying to leave your 9-to-5 job, which I will say, once you're able to accomplish that, like, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, you are never ever going to work for someone else. Like, I know I am never going to work for anyone else ever in my life. And my only regret is that I didn't start sooner. So, again, I'm not super old. I'm 32. But if you're in your teens or in your 20s, I wish I was younger just so that I could have started earlier. But I know moving forward, I am never, ever going to work for someone else except my own, because that's where I'm at now. So that's a big goal to hit. So if you guys already hit it, that's great. Then your next one should be to kind of like build your clientele, get rid of all these clients that where you're shortchanging yourself or you were shortchanging yourself. This stage is now where you can kind of like take some of that time and money back, and really take control of your business and start loosening those loose screws, because that's where I was last year. I'm like, I was like, I have a lot of loose screws. I need to tighten these loose screws and get rid of about 50% of my clients, because I know in the long term, if I want to run a profitable and long-term business, this is what I need to do. Did it suck? Yes, because I lost a lot of money from those clients, but I knew that eventually I would replace them, and I did. So that should be your number 2, is start making a list of clients that you want to get rid of. If you sign up 2 clients, get rid of one of them. If you sign 1 client, get rid of them. I used to do, for every 2 clients that I get, I'm going to replace 1 bad client, because I still wanted that money coming in, but I knew that I needed to get rid of them at the end of the day. So we were going to do our last one, and then I got a call that she found me on Google. I already mowed this area, but because it's so close to the street and the shrubs, like I have to trim or weed eat a good chunk of it. But she lives in an HOA area, so I think they're going to ticket her or something if she didn't get it done by today. So she called me kind of freaking out, asking me if I can fit her in today. So, huge mansion. I'll try to show you guys the front. It's probably like 6 or 7 like small islands like this. So it's not really that much to like mow, except one area all the way in the back. Or 2 areas actually. But I think it'll probably take us like 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and a half. Nah, it's probably like 2 hours to just mow, blow, edge, and then just pass like my trimmers, hedge trimmers, real quick here. And then she wanted us to haul all the limbs and stuff. But I have a burn pile, so everything's pretty easy. And then I ended up charging her $340 for this, so not too bad to end, the day. Plus, it's one extra job that I didn't count on for the week. But anyways, the third business goal that you should try to aim for, which is where I'm at. I'm between the second one and the third one. Obviously, getting rid of all these bad clients, which again, it sucked because I literally went from like 65 to 30. But, I'd rather have like 30 good clients than 60 bad clients, that only, want to use you when it's convenient for them. So that's where I'm at. But the third business goal should be your route density. So obviously, we're in this business to make money, and the way to achieve that is through having good quality clients and a really tight route density. And then that's where I'm at, because there's a few days or a few jobs where I'm driving 20 or 30 minutes to one job to do like a 30-minute job, and then another 30, and then I'm driving another 20, 30 minutes to do another like 20-minute job. But that comes with time, because as you continue to grow and you keep taking on clients, you can kind of start letting go of these clients that don't really make sense for you to keep. Even if they are good clients, eventually you'll have to drop them because they're just too far away. Or you just hope that you keep landing more clients in that area, where eventually, you see like that was another bet. It was like 2 passes and I was done. Like I was saying, kind of scalped it a little bit. I know, my bad. What you want to do is, or what you hope for is, eventually you pick up a good bit of clients in that area, where one day you're in that specific area or city that whole day, and you're not driving in and out. So that's another area. But yeah, we're gonna be here a little bit, maybe like I'm saying 2 hours, and that's kind of like taking our time. I really wish I had Jacob with me. If I knew I was gonna get this job, I would have brought him in with me. But you know, it is what it is. But keep grinding. It takes its time, but you'll make it. But like always, like, subscribe. I appreciate y'all.